What if the life you're living right now is slowly becoming the life you'll regret later? Not because something terrible happened, but because nothing ever changed. You wake up, you scroll, you delay. You tell yourself, I'll figure it out soon. But soon keeps moving, and somehow you still feel stuck. And the scary part? You don't even know when it started. You just know this feeling, that quiet pressure in your chest, that voice that says, you're meant for more than this. But then another voice answers back, yeah, but not today. And that's where most people stay, right there, between knowing and doing. Be honest for a second. Does that feel familiar? Because this is where your story actually begins. Not when everything is perfect, not when you're ready, but right here, in the middle of confusion. Now here's the part nobody tells you. You're not stuck because you're lazy. You're not behind because you're not smart enough. You're stuck because you've been lied to. Not by people, by your own mind. See, your brain has one job: keep you safe, not successful, not fulfilled, safe. So it avoids risk, avoids discomfort, avoids anything unfamiliar. And the problem? Everything that could change your life feels uncomfortable at first. So your brain does something sneaky. It convinces you that comfort is the right choice. Stay where you are. Don't take that risk. You can try later. And it sounds reasonable. That's why it works. But this is where it gets real. Every time you choose comfort, you reinforce the same life, same habits, same results, same frustration. And over time, that turns into something heavier: regret. Not loud regret, not dramatic, quiet regret. The kind that shows up late at night when everything is silent and you're left with your own thoughts. What if I tried? What if I didn't wait? What if I actually went for it? And that question, it doesn't go away. It stays. Now wait till you hear this. Most people think they need motivation to change. They don't. Motivation is unreliable. It comes and goes. That's why you feel inspired one day and stuck the next. So if it's not motivation, what is it? Awareness. That moment when you realize this isn't working anymore. And maybe you've felt that already. Maybe you've had that moment where everything just felt off. You're doing what you're supposed to do, following the path, checking the boxes, but something inside you feels empty, like you're living on autopilot. Wake up, work, scroll, sleep, repeat. And deep down, you know this isn't it. But you ignore it. Because changing feels harder than staying the same. At least, that's what it feels like. But here's the truth. Staying the same is harder. You just don't feel the cost immediately. It builds slowly, day by day, until one day you look back and realize how much time you wasted. Think about it. How many times have you said, I'll start tomorrow? And how many tomorrows have already passed? Yeah, this isn't about blaming yourself. It's about waking up. Because once you see it, you can't unsee it. And that's where things begin to shift. This next part changes everything. You don't need a perfect plan. You don't need to have it all figured out. You just need to stop lying to yourself. Stop saying you'll do it later.
Stop pretending you don't know what needs to change, because you do know. You've always known. You just haven't acted on it, and that's okay. But it's not okay to stay there forever. So let me ask you something. Which one are you right now? Stuck or starting? Don't overthink it. Just feel the answer. Because whatever you choose, that's the direction your life moves in. And right now, you're standing at that exact point. The moment where everything can stay the same or finally change.
And here's where it gets uncomfortable. Because once you realize you're the one choosing your direction, you lose the excuse. No more blaming time. No more blaming circumstances. No more waiting for the right moment. Because deep down, you know something simple. If nothing changes, nothing changes. And that's when the resistance shows up. That quiet voice inside your head starts getting louder. What if you fail? What if you're not good enough? What if you try and nothing happens? And just like that, you hesitate. Not because you can't move forward, but because your mind is trying to protect you from discomfort. But here's the twist nobody talks about. Your mind isn't protecting your future. It's protecting your present comfort. And those two things, they don't go together. So you're stuck in this loop. You want more, but you keep choosing what's familiar. And familiar feels safe, even if it's making you miserable. Let that sink in. People don't stay stuck because they love their situation. They stay stuck because it's predictable. And predictability feels like control. But it's not control. It's limitation. Now here's where things start to shift. What if the thing you've been avoiding is actually the thing that sets you free? That conversation you've been putting off, that decision you keep delaying, that step you're scared to take. What if that's the door, but instead you keep walking past it because it feels uncomfortable? And yeah, it will. Growth doesn't feel safe. It feels uncertain. It feels like stepping into something you can't fully see yet. But that's the point. Because if you could already see it clearly, you wouldn't grow. You'd just repeat. Now think about this. Every version of you that you admire requires you to let go of the version you are right now. And that's hard. Because even if you're not fully happy, you're used to who you are. Your habits, your routines, your excuses. They feel like part of you, but they're not you. They're patterns. And patterns can change, but only if you're willing to break them. This is where most people stop. They realize what needs to change, but they don't act. Because change feels like loss. Loss of comfort, loss of certainty, loss of the identity they've been holding on to. But here's the truth. You're not losing yourself. You're upgrading. You're letting go of what's been holding you back to become someone stronger. And yeah, that process isn't smooth. It's messy. It's uncomfortable. It's full of doubt. But that doesn't mean you're doing it wrong. It means you're finally doing something real. Let me ask you something honestly. Why do we keep choosing the same patterns, even when we know they're not working? Sit with that for a second. Because the answer changes everything. It's not because you lack discipline. It's not because you're incapable. It's because your identity hasn't changed yet. You still see yourself as someone who delays, someone who overthinks, someone who starts but doesn't finish. So even when you try to act differently, you fall back. Because identity always wins. So if you want to change your life, you don't just change your actions. You change how you see yourself. You stop saying, "I'm trying." You start saying, "I'm the type of person who follows through, shows up, does the hard things, even when it's inconvenient, even when it's uncomfortable, even when no one is watching." That shift, it's powerful. Because now, you're not forcing yourself to act. You're acting in alignment with who you believe you are. And that changes everything. But here's where it gets real. You don't build that identity by thinking about it. You build it through action. Small actions, repeated daily. Keeping promises to yourself. Doing what you said you would do. Showing up, even when you don't feel like it. That's how identity is formed. So let me ask you again, which one are you right now? The version who keeps delaying, or the version who starts showing up? Don't answer with words. Answer with what you do next. Because that's the only thing that counts. And this is where most people quietly give up. Not out loud, not dramatically, just slowly. They go back to what's easy, what's familiar, what doesn't challenge them. And from the outside, their life looks normal. But inside, they know. They know they're capable of more. They know they're holding back. They know they're wasting time. And that awareness, it starts to hurt. Because now it's not ignorance anymore. It's a choice. But here's where things change, if you let them. What if you stopped waiting to feel ready? What if ready was never the requirement? Because think about it. Have you ever actually felt 100% ready for anything that mattered? Probably not. You just did it. Or you didn't. And every time you didn't, you told yourself a story. I need more time. I'll do it when things settle down. I'm just not in the right mindset right now. Sounds logical. Feels valid, but it's still avoidance. Now here's the part most people won't admit. Avoidance feels better in the moment, but worse over time. Action feels uncomfortable in the moment, but better over time. That's the trade. And every day, you're choosing one side or the other, without even realizing it. So the question isn't, do you want a better life? Everyone says yes to that. The real question is, are you willing to feel uncomfortable long enough to create it? Because that's the price. Not talent, not luck, not perfect timing. Discomfort. And the people who move forward, they don't enjoy it. They just stop running from it. They stop seeing discomfort as a warning and start seeing it as a signal that they're growing, a signal that they're moving forward, a signal that they're doing something that actually matters. Now here's where it hits deeper. The life you want? It's on the other side of things you keep avoiding. That call you don't want to make, that habit you don't want to break, that version of you that feels just out of reach. That's the direction. But instead, you keep choosing the easier path. And again, it feels fine in the moment, but later, it costs you. In confidence, in time, in self-respect. Because every time you avoid something important, you send yourself a message. I don't trust myself to follow through. And that message, it builds until you start believing it. I'm just not consistent. I always fall off. I'm not that disciplined. But those aren't facts. They're patterns you've repeated. And patterns can be broken, but only if you interrupt them. Right in the moment they happen. That moment when you say, I'll do it later.
That's the moment that matters. Not tomorrow, not next week, right there. Because that's where the pattern lives. And if you can break it once, you can break it again and again, until it stops controlling you. Let me be real with you. This isn't about becoming perfect. You're still going to have off days. You're still going to hesitate sometimes. You're still going to feel doubt. That doesn't go away. But what changes is how you respond to it. Instead of stopping, you keep moving. Instead of quitting, you adjust. Instead of avoiding, you face it. That's the difference. And over time, that difference compounds. You become someone who follows through, someone who doesn't rely on motivation, someone who acts regardless of how they feel. And that identity? It changes everything. Because now, you're not hoping your life improves. You're creating it. If this is hitting something inside you, you already know why. Because a part of you has been waiting to hear this. So don't ignore it. Don't push it aside like every other time. This is one of those moments, the kind that either passes or changes everything.
And this is where it all comes together. Because now you see it. Not just the problem, but the pattern. How you've been thinking, how you've been choosing, how you've been delaying the life you actually want. And once you see the pattern, you can't unsee it. Which means one thing. You have a choice now. Not a big, dramatic, life-changing decision all at once. A small one. Right here, right now. Do you keep doing what you've always done, or do you finally break the cycle? Because understand this, your life doesn't change in one massive moment. It changes in small decisions, repeated consistently. That's it. Not glamorous, not exciting, but powerful. Now here's where most people get it wrong. They wait for motivation to act. But motivation is unstable. It depends on your mood, your energy, your environment, and those things change constantly. So if you rely on motivation, your actions will always be inconsistent. Instead, you rely on something stronger. Commitment. Commitment doesn't care how you feel. It doesn't ask if you're tired. It doesn't wait for the perfect moment. It just shows up. And that's the shift. You stop asking, "Do I feel like it today?" and start asking, "Is this the kind of person I'm becoming?" Because every action you take is a vote for your future identity. Every time you follow through, you reinforce that identity. Every time you avoid, you weaken it. So it's not about perfection, it's about direction. And direction is decided daily. Now think about this for a second. If you kept living exactly how you are right now for the next 5 years, where would you end up? Same habits, same mindset, same excuses. Does that version of your future feel exciting or disappointing? Be honest. Because that future isn't random. It's being built right now, in the small things you do and the small things you avoid. Now here's the part most people don't want to hear. No one is coming to fix this for you. No perfect opportunity, no sudden breakthrough, no moment where everything just clicks into place. It's you. It's always been you. And that might feel heavy, but it's also powerful. Because if you're the one creating the problem, you're also the one who can change it. Starting today. Starting with one decision. Do the thing you've been avoiding. Not everything, just one thing. Make the call. Start the habit. Take the first step. Not perfectly, just honestly. Because action creates clarity, not the other way around. You don't figure it all out first. You move and figure it out along the way.
That's how every transformation works. Messy, uncertain, imperfect, but real. And over time, those small, imperfect actions turn into something powerful. Momentum. And once you have momentum, everything feels different. You think differently. You act differently. You see yourself differently. Because now, you trust yourself. You trust that when things get hard, you won't run. And that trust? That's confidence. Not loud confidence, not fake confidence. Quiet certainty. The kind that says, I'll figure it out. Now let me leave you with this. Years from now, you're going to look back at this version of yourself, the one who felt stuck, the one who knew something had to change, the one who had this exact moment, and you'll either be grateful that you started or you'll wish you did. There's no in between. So don't let this just be another video you watched, another moment you felt something and then ignored it. If this makes sense, say something. Not for anyone else, for you. Because awareness without action is just another form of delay. And you've delayed long enough. If this hit home, don't just scroll. Subscribe and start becoming the version of you already know you can be.